The insistent ringing sliced through Cassandra's dream like a knife. She fumbled in the darkness, knocking over a glass of water before her fingers found the vibrating phone. The screen blazed with an unfamiliar number, momentarily blinding her. 3:47 a.m. Hello. Her voice was thick with sleep, but the adrenaline was already starting to flow. Mrs. Elliot? Cassandra Elliot? The voice was male, official. Yes, this is she. Cassandra sat up now, pulling the duvet around her shoulders against the October chill. She glanced at the empty space beside her where Ethan should have been. This is Officer Marcus Delgado with the Ridgewood Police Department. I'm calling about your husband, Ethan Elliot. The world slowed. Every word became distinct, heavy with meaning. Is he okay? Was there an accident? Ma'am, your husband is physically fine, but I need you to come down to the station. There's been an incident. What kind of incident? He was just out with friends from work. A dinner and drinks thing at Callahan's downtown. The explanation sounded hollow even to her own ears. There was a pause on the line. Too long. Mrs. Elliot, your husband wasn't at Callahan's tonight. He was arrested at a residential address in Oakwood Heights. I can't discuss the details over the phone, but we need you to come in. Cassandra's mind raced through possibilities.
GUI?
A fight? But Oakwood Heights was across town, nowhere near where Ethan said he would be. And why would he lie about something so trivial? Officer Delgado, I don't understand. What's he being charged with? Another pause. Breaking and entering, assault, and stalking. The victim has a restraining order against him. One that's been in effect for nearly 2 years. Cassandra felt the room tilt. Asterisk, a restraining order? For 2 years. Asterisk, they'd only been living in Ridgewood for 3. There must be some mistake, she whispered. Mrs. Elliot, can you come to the station? Your husband is asking for you. Yes, I'll be there as soon as possible. When the call ended, Cassandra sat motionless in the dark. The bedside clock ticked away seconds that felt like hours. Outside, a car passed, its headlights sweeping across the bedroom wall like a searchlight. She caught her reflection in the mirror across the room, a woman she suddenly didn't recognize. The woman who thought she knew her husband. 6 months earlier. To 5 incredible years, Ethan raised his champagne glass, the soft light of the restaurant catching the amber flecks in his hazel eyes, the feature that had first drawn Cassandra to him at that gallery opening in Chicago. Cassandra smiled, clinking her glass against his. And to many more. They were seated at their favorite table at Vincenzo's, where the owner always greeted them by name and saved them the corner spot by the window. Ethan reached across the table and took her hand, his thumb gently stroking her palm. Do you remember what you said to me the night I proposed? He asked. I believe it was yes, she laughed. Before that, you said, I've never felt so sure of anything in my life. That's how I feel about us, Cass. Every single day. His sincerity still made her heart skip. 5 years into their marriage, and Ethan could disarm her with just a look, a touch, a few well-chosen words. Even when I leave my coffee mugs all over the house. Even then, he grinned. Though maybe try using just 1 mug per day? They laughed, falling into the easy rhythm they'd established since they'd met 7 years ago. They'd been the couple everyone envied, the brilliant architect and the talented photographer, both rising in their fields, both attractive and articulate. When they decided to leave Chicago for the smaller, more family-friendly community of Ridgewood 2 years ago, it had been a joint decision. A step toward the future they were building together. Ethan's phone buzzed on the table. He glanced down, then quickly flipped it over. Work? Cassandra asked. Yeah, Jenkins is freaking out about the Westfield project again. He smiled apologetically. I'll deal with it tomorrow. Tonight is about us. Cassandra nodded, but something in his expression gave her pause. It was brief, a tightening around his eyes, a forced casualness in his shrug. If she hadn't been studying faces through her camera lens for over a decade, she might have missed it. Later that night, as Ethan slept beside her, she found herself staring at the ceiling, replaying that moment. It wasn't the first time she'd noticed it, that split-second hesitation when his phone buzzed, the way he angled the screen away from her when typing messages. "You're being paranoid," she told herself. "He's never given you a reason not to trust him." Still, as she drifted off to sleep, an uneasy feeling settled in her chest, like the first distant rumble of an approaching storm. Earth to Cassandra. Elena waved a hand in front of her face, jolting her out of her thoughts. They were sitting at their usual table in the coffee shop across from Cassandra's studio, where they met every Thursday morning. "Sorry, what were you saying?" Cassandra took a sip of her now lukewarm cappuccino. Elena, her best friend since college, and the one person who had followed her from Chicago to Ridgewood, narrowed her eyes. "I was asking about the Richardson wedding photos, but clearly your mind is elsewhere." "Spill." Cassandra hesitated. Voicing her concerns felt like a betrayal somehow. "It's probably nothing," she began. "Just, Ethan's been working late a lot. And there have been more of these dinner meetings with clients or colleagues. Last night, he didn't get home until after midnight." Elena raised an eyebrow. "And you're worried because—" "I'm not worried, exactly. It's just different. He's always been dedicated to his job, but lately, it feels like there's something more." "Have you asked him about it?" "Of course. He says they're pushing to finish the Westfield project before the deadline." "It makes sense. Cassandra trailed off. "You just what?" "Last week, I called his office around 9 to see if he wanted me to bring dinner by, since he said he'd be working late. His assistant said he'd left at 7. Elena's expression shifted from skepticism to concern. "What did Ethan say?" "That they'd moved to a bar to continue discussions in a more relaxed setting." "It's plausible." "But you don't believe him?" Cassandra ran her finger around the rim of her cup. "No, I do. It's just there are these little inconsistencies. Comments about meetings that don't align with what I know about his schedule. Phone calls he steps outside to take. And sometimes, Elena, the way he looks at me, it's like he's searching for something in my face. Like he's checking whether I believe him." Elena reached across the table and squeezed her hand. "Cass, you know I love Ethan. He's always been good to you, good for you. But if your gut is telling you something's off, don't ignore it. What if I'm just being insecure? My parents' divorce messed with my head when it comes to trust." "True, but you're also the most level-headed person I know. You don't jump to conclusions." Elena paused, choosing her words carefully. "Just keep your eyes open, okay? And remember that no matter what, I'm here." Later that day, as Cassandra was editing photos in her studio, her phone pinged with a text from Ethan. "Dinner with Richards and the Westfield investors tonight. We'll probably be late. Don't wait up. Love you, *. She stared at the message, the uneasiness from the morning conversation with Elena still lingering. Before she could talk herself out of it, she typed, "Where are you meeting? Maybe I could join for dessert?" The three dots appeared, disappeared, and reappeared again. Finally, Marchetti's in the city. Boring business talk, you'd hate it. Rain check, *. Cassandra set her phone down, trying to ignore the knot forming in her stomach. Marchetti's was an exclusive Italian restaurant downtown. It would be easy enough to verify if he was there. "No, I'm being ridiculous," she thought. "This is Ethan we're talking about." She picked up her phone again and typed, "rain check it is. Have a good meeting, *. She tried to focus on her work, but her mind kept drifting. By 5 p.m., she'd made a decision. She would drive by Marchetti's. Not to spy, just to what? See his car in the parking lot? Catch a glimpse of him through the window with his colleagues? The thought made her stomach turn. "This isn't you, Cass," she told herself. You trust him. You've always trusted him. She shut down her computer and gathered her things. As she was locking the studio door, her phone rang. It was Nora, a client whose newborn photos were scheduled for the following week. "Hi Nora, how's little Emma doing?" "Actually, she's running a fever. I hate to do this, but can we reschedule next week's session? The pediatrician thinks it might be an ear infection." "Of course," Cassandra said, immediately shifting to her professional calendar mindset. "Let me check my availability." By the time she'd rescheduled Nora and answered emails from 2 other clients, it was past 7 p.m. She stood in the parking lot, keys in hand, the temptation to drive by Marchetti's still nagging at her. Asterisk trust, Cass. Choose trust, asterisk. She got her car and drove home. The night was unseasonably warm for May, and Cassandra had suggested dinner on their back deck. Ethan had been distracted throughout the meal, checking his phone repeatedly. "Everything okay?" she finally asked, setting down her fork. Ethan looked up, as if surprised to find her there. "Yeah, sorry. Just some emails about the Westfield project. I thought that wrapped up last month." A flicker of something annoyance? Alarm? Crossed his face. The construction phase, yes. But there are still administrative details to handle. Cassandra nodded, taking a sip of wine to fill the silence that followed. After a moment, she asked, "Do you remember Sarah Wilson from my photography workshop last year? The one who's moving to Boston?" "Vaguely," Ethan replied, still scrolling through his phone. "She and her husband invited us to a goodbye dinner next Saturday. I thought it might be nice to go." Ethan's fingers stilled on the screen. "Next Saturday? I can't. I have that conference in Detroit, remember?" Cassandra frowned. "You didn't mention a conference." "Didn't I?" He looked genuinely puzzled. "It's been on the calendar for months. The Midwest Architectural Innovation Summit. I'm giving a presentation on sustainable urban development." "For how long?" "I fly out Friday afternoon, back Sunday evening." Cassandra tried to recall any previous mention of this conference and came up empty. She prided herself on keeping track of their schedules, coordinating their busy lives. "Show me," she said suddenly. "What?" "The conference website. Your name should be listed as a presenter, right?" Ethan's expression hardened slightly. "You don't believe me?" "I just want to see the details, that's all. Maybe I could come with you? Make a weekend of it." He looked at her for a long moment, then set his phone down. "You know what? You're right. I haven't been fair to you lately, working so much." His tone softened. "I miss us, Cass." The abrupt change in conversation left her momentarily speechless. "I miss us too," she finally said, "but that doesn't answer my question about the conference." Ethan reached across the table and took her hand. "Let me make it up to you. After this project and the conference, let's take that trip to the coast we've been talking about. Just the two of us, no phones, no work. What do you say?" His smile was warm, his eyes earnest. It would be so easy to let it go, to believe everything was fine. "Sounds perfect," she heard herself say. Later that night, after Ethan had fallen asleep, Cassandra sat in the dark living room with her laptop. It took her less than 5 minutes to confirm there was no Midwest Architectural Innovation Summit in Detroit that weekend. Or anywhere else. Her hands trembled as she closed the laptop. The evidence was irrefutable now. Ethan was lying to her. The question was why. The most obvious answer made her physically ill. An affair. The late nights, the secretive phone calls, the fabricated business events. It all pointed to the cliché she never thought would apply to her marriage. But something didn't fit. If Ethan was having an affair, why make up an easily verifiable lie about a conference? Why not just say he had a regular business trip? It seemed almost careless. And Ethan was never careless. Unless he wanted to be caught? Or unless there was something worse than an affair that he was hiding. The thought sent a chill through her. What could be worse than betrayal? She wasn't sure she wanted to know. The next morning, as Ethan was preparing to leave for work, Cassandra casually mentioned, "I looked up that conference in Detroit." Ethan froze, his hand on the doorknob. "Oh, there isn't one." He turned slowly, his expression unreadable. "I misspoke. It's in Cleveland, not Detroit." The lie was so blatant, so unnecessary, that Cassandra felt a surge of anger. "Stop it, Ethan. Just stop. Whatever you're planning to do next weekend, at least have the decency not to lie to my face about it." For a moment, something dark passed over his features, something she'd never seen before. Then it was gone, replaced by contrition. "You're right. I'm sorry." He ran a hand through his hair. "The truth is, James and I are going fishing at his uncle's cabin. I didn't tell you, because I know how you feel about me taking time away when we're both so busy. It was selfish of me." James Reynolds was Ethan's oldest friend, the best man at their wedding. They did go fishing occasionally, though Ethan had never hidden it before. "You could have just told me that," she said, still unsure whether to believe this new story. "I know. I screwed up." He approached her, placing his hands on her shoulders. "No more lies, I promise." She wanted to believe him.
God, how she wanted to.
"Okay," she said. "Have a good day at work." After he left, Cassandra sat at the kitchen counter, her coffee growing cold. She pulled out her phone and scrolled to James's number. They weren't close, but they were friendly enough. Her finger hovered over the call button. If I do this, there's no going back, she thought. Either James would confirm Ethan's story, making her the untrusting wife, or he wouldn't, confirming her worst fears. She put the phone down. Not yet. Not until she was sure. 3 days before Ethan's supposed fishing trip, Cassandra made a decision. If he wouldn't tell her the truth, she would find it herself. The opportunity came more easily than she expected. Ethan left his laptop open on the kitchen counter while he went to shower. His email was already open. She hesitated only briefly before scrolling through his inbox. Most of it was exactly what she'd expect: work correspondence, newsletters, confirmation emails from online purchases. Nothing suspicious. She was about to close it when she noticed a folder labeled simply P. Heart pounding. She clicked on it. Inside were dozens of emails from an account named oliviabw@gmail.com. The most recent had arrived that morning. Everything's set for the weekend. I've missed you so much. These 2-week gaps are killing me. Oh, Cassandra felt the floor drop out from under her. Here it was, the confirmation of what she'd feared. An affair with someone named Olivia. With trembling hands, she scrolled through the previous emails. They dated back nearly 3 years, to just before they'd moved to Ridgewood. The early ones were filled with passion and promises. Later ones discussed logistics, when they could meet, where, how to avoid detection. I know it's complicated with C, but we'll figure it out. I love you too much to give up. Oh,
C.
That was her.
Cassandra.
The complication. She heard the shower turn off and quickly closed the email, returning the screen to what Ethan had been viewing. She moved to the living room and picked up a magazine, trying to control her breathing, to appear normal. When Ethan emerged, dressed for work, she couldn't look at him without seeing the words from those emails burned into her mind. "You okay?" he asked, noticing her silence. "Fine," she managed. "Just tired." He kissed the top of her head. "Get some rest today. Love you." The words, once so precious, now felt like daggers. After he left, she sat motionless, trying to process what she'd discovered. 3 years. Their entire time in Ridgewood, and even before. While they were discussing the move, planning their future, Ethan had been involved with this Olivia. She needed to know more. Who was this woman? How had they met? Was it purely physical, or was there more? The questions tormented her. With shaking hands, she typed Olivia B.W. Ridgewood into a search engine. Several results appeared, but one immediately caught her eye. Olivia Bennett Winters, licensed therapist. The photo showed an attractive woman in her mid-30s with dark hair and a professional smile. According to her website, she specialized in relationship counseling and had an office downtown. A therapist. The irony would be laughable if it weren't so painful. Cassandra dug deeper. Social media revealed that Olivia was divorced, no children, lived in the Oakwood Heights neighborhood. She had moved to Ridgewood about 4 years ago from Chicago, where Cassandra and Ethan had lived before moving here. The coincidence was too great. Somehow, Ethan and Olivia had connected in Chicago, and then both ended up in this small town. Had Ethan orchestrated their move to be near her? Had their entire relocation been based on a lie? The thought made her physically ill. She barely made it to the bathroom before emptying the contents of her stomach. Afterward, as she rinsed her mouth and stared at her pale reflection, a new determination took hold. She would confront him, not with accusations or tears, but with evidence. And she would do it at the right moment, when he couldn't deflect or fabricate another story. That moment, she decided, would be when he returned from his fishing trip. When he was relaxed, thinking he'd gotten away with it. She spent the next 2 days in a fog, going through the motions of her life while carrying the weight of her discovery. She canceled appointments, claiming illness. It wasn't entirely a lie. She did feel sick, but no medicine could cure what ailed her. On Friday, she kissed Ethan goodbye, accepting his embrace with a wooden smile. "Have fun fishing," she said, the words tasting like ash.
I will.
"I'll be back Sunday evening. Call if you need anything." As soon as his car pulled away, she got to work. First, she called James, fabricating a story about wanting to surprise Ethan with a care package sent to the cabin. "Cabin?" James sounded confused. "I don't know what you're talking about, Cass. Ethan and I don't have any plans this weekend." The confirmation hit her like a physical blow, even though she'd expected it. "Oh, my mistake then. Must have mixed up the dates." Next, she did something she never thought she'd do. She drove to Olivia Bennett Winter's office, parked across the street, and waited. At 5:30, the therapist emerged, locking the door behind her. She was even more striking in person, tall, elegantly dressed, with a confident walk. Cassandra followed her at a discreet distance as she drove to a modern apartment building in Oakwood Heights. After Olivia entered, Cassandra noted the address, then drove home, a plan forming in her mind. Saturday morning, she returned to the apartment building and parked where she could see both the entrance and the parking garage. Hours passed. She was about to give up when a familiar car pulled into the garage. Ethan's silver Audi.
Proof.
Irrefutable, undeniable proof.
She should leave now.
She had what she came for. But something kept her rooted to the spot. A masochistic need to understand the full extent of the betrayal, perhaps. At 7 p.m., Ethan and Olivia emerged from the building together. They walked close but not touching, careful, even here. They got into Olivia's car and drove away. Cassandra followed them to an upscale restaurant in the next town over, where they would be unlikely to encounter anyone they knew. Through the window, she watched them sit at a corner table. She saw the way Ethan leaned in when Olivia spoke, the way his hand occasionally brushed hers. They looked happy, comfortable, like a real couple. The sight was more devastating than catching them in a passionate embrace would have been. This wasn't just sex. This was intimacy. Connection. Everything she thought she had with Ethan, duplicated with another woman. She couldn't bear to watch anymore. She drove home in a daze, tears blurring her vision. At home, she poured herself a glass of wine, then another. She looked around the house they'd chosen together, at the photos of their life displayed on the walls, and felt like she was seeing it all for the first time, a carefully constructed facade. By midnight, the initial shock had given way to cold fury. She would not be made a fool of any longer. When Ethan returned tomorrow, she would confront him with what she knew. She would demand the truth. All of it. And then she would decide what to do with the shattered remains of her marriage. She was about to head upstairs when her phone buzzed with a text. "Ethan. Asterisk, hope you had a good day. Just checking in before bed. Love you. Asterisk." The casual deception, the love you tacked on at the end, it was too much. Before she could stop herself, she typed, "How's Olivia?" She hit send, then immediately regretted it. This wasn't the plan. She was supposed to wait, to confront him face to face. But it was too late. 3 dots appeared on her screen, disappeared, reappeared. Finally. Asterisk, I'll be home in 20 minutes. We need to talk. Asterisk. Cassandra sat in the dark living room, waiting. She'd considered leaving, packing a bag and going to Elena's, making him wonder, worry. But no, she needed answers more than she needed petty revenge. The headlights of Ethan's car swept across the wall as he pulled into the driveway. The garage door opened and closed. Footsteps on the path. The turn of a key in the lock. He entered slowly, as if approaching a wounded animal. He didn't turn on the light, though he must have seen her silhouette in the armchair. "How long have you known?" His voice was quiet, resigned. "I confirmed it today, but I've suspected for a while." He nodded, moving to sit on the couch across from her. In the dim light filtering through the curtains, his face looked haggard, older. I never meant for this to happen, Cass. For what to happen? The affair, or me finding out about it? Both. He ran a hand over his face. I never wanted to hurt you. A bitter laugh escaped her. Well, mission failed spectacularly on that one. I deserve that. You deserve a lot worse. She leaned forward. 3 years, Ethan. 3 fucking years you've been lying to me. Was anything real? Was our entire marriage just a cover for whatever this is with her? No. The vehemence in his voice surprised her. What we have, it's real, Cass. I love you. I've always loved you. Don't. She held up a hand. Don't you dare sit there and tell me you love me after what you've done. It's complicated. Then uncomplicate it for me. Tell me the truth, all of it. I deserve that much. Ethan was quiet for a long moment, as if weighing how much to reveal. Finally, he said, I met Olivia in Chicago at a therapy conference where I was presenting on architectural spaces that promote mental wellness. We connected. It was supposed to be a one-time thing. But it wasn't.
No.
We kept in touch. When her practice in Chicago faltered, I suggested Ridgewood. The firm was already planning to open a branch here, and I volunteered to head it up. The confirmation that their move had been orchestrated around his affair hit Cassandra like a physical blow. So, our entire life here has been built on a lie. Not entirely. We talked about wanting a smaller community, remember? Better schools for when we started a family. I thought I could have both. Both. Cassandra's voice rose. Both what, Ethan? Both me and her? What was the endgame here? Maintain 2 relationships indefinitely? Did she know about me? Of course she knew. I never lied about being married. Oh, how noble of you. The sarcasm dripped from her words. So, you were honest with your mistress while lying to your wife. Should I applaud your selective integrity? Ethan flinched. I know how this sounds. You have no idea how this sounds. You've destroyed everything we built together. Every memory, every moment. It's all tainted now. Tears threatened, but she forced them back. Why, Ethan? What does she give you that I don't? It's not about what you lack, Cass. It never was. It's about who I am when I'm with her. Parts of myself I can't show you. What does that even mean? He hesitated then. Olivia understands certain needs I have. Needs that I knew would frighten you, repulse you. A cold dread settled in Cassandra's stomach. What needs? It doesn't matter now. It matters to me. You owe me the truth, Ethan. All of it. He stood abruptly, pacing. You think you want the truth, but you don't. Trust me on this. Trust you. She laughed, the sound harsh in the quiet room. That ship has sailed, along with my respect for you and any chance of salvaging this marriage. He stopped pacing and turned to her, something shifting in his demeanor. Is that what you want? To end our marriage? The question caught her off guard.
What did she want?
24 hours ago, she'd had a life she thought was happy, a husband she believed loved her. Now everything was in ruins. Could they rebuild from this? Should they even try? I don't know, she admitted. But I know I can't make that decision without understanding what I'm really dealing with. So tell me, Ethan, what needs does Olivia satisfy that I can't? He studied her face for a long moment, then seemed to make a decision. Control, he said simply. Olivia lets me control her, completely. And sometimes she controls me. Cassandra frowned. You mean like BDSM? That's what this is about. A sexual kink. It's more than that. It's deeper, darker. It's about power, Cass. The kind of power that changes a person. She stared at him, trying to reconcile this Ethan with the man she'd married, the man who brought her tea in bed when she was sick, who cried at sad movies, who talked about wanting children someday. You could have talked to me, she said softly. We could have explored that together. Did you ever consider that?
I did.
But then I remembered how you reacted when your college roommate told us about her boyfriend wanting to tie her up. You were horrified, remember? You said it was sick. Cassandra remembered. She'd been 22, sheltered, judgmental. That was a lifetime ago, Ethan. People change, grow. Some things don't change. Some desires only deepen with time. His voice had taken on a different quality, harder, colder. Olivia doesn't just accept that part of me. She craves it. She needs what I need. The way he talked about Olivia made Cassandra's skin crawl. This wasn't just an affair. It was an obsession. So, what happens now? She asked. You go back to her? Is that what you want? I don't know what I want anymore. He sat down heavily on the couch. I never planned for this moment. I thought I could keep both worlds separate. Well, you can't. So choose. The directness of her command seemed to surprise him. Just like that. Yes, just like that. Me or her. Right now. He looked away. It's not that simple. Actually, it is. You just don't like the options. She stood now, finding strength in her anger. I'm going to Elena's.
I need space to think.
When I come back tomorrow, I want a decision. And whatever it is, we'll deal with the consequences. She moved toward the stairs to pack a bag, but Ethan's voice stopped her. She won't let me go, Cass. Something in his tone made her turn. What do you mean? Olivia, she's not stable. When I've tried to end things before, she's threatened to hurt herself. To hurt others. Are you saying she's dangerous? I'm saying she's desperate. And desperation makes people unpredictable. Cassandra studied his face, looking for signs of manipulation. Was this another lie, designed to gain her sympathy? Or was he genuinely afraid? If that's true, then you need help, Ethan. Professional help. Not just for your relationship with her, but for whatever drives you to be with someone like that. You don't understand. No one does. Then make me understand. Stop hiding behind vague warnings and half-truths. If you ever loved me at all, give me the full truth now. Ethan's expression hardened. You want the truth?
Fine.
Olivia and I have a connection that goes beyond anything I've experienced before. It's addictive, all-consuming. When I'm with her, nothing else matters. Not my career, not our marriage, nothing. She understands my darkest impulses and embraces them. Can you say the same? The raw honesty of his words struck Cassandra like a physical blow. This wasn't just about sex or power. It was about a fundamental compatibility that she and Ethan apparently lacked. No, she said quietly. I can't say the same. Because I don't know those impulses. You never shared them with me. You never gave us a chance. Would it have made a difference? Would you have stayed if you knew what I'm really like? It was the question that would haunt her in the months to come. Would she have? Could she have loved a man who harbored such darkness? I guess we'll never know, she said finally. Because you made that choice for both of us when you started lying. She turned and headed upstairs to pack her bag, feeling Ethan's eyes on her back. As she threw clothes into a suitcase, she heard him on the phone downstairs, his voice low and urgent. She couldn't make out the words, but the tone was clear, desperation. When she came back downstairs, bag in hand, he was standing by the door, keys in hand. I need to go, he said. Olivia, she's threatening to hurt herself. Cassandra stared at him, incredulous. So, even now, she comes first. It's not like that. She needs help. And I don't. The unfairness of it all crashed over her like a wave.
Go then.
Go to her. But don't expect me to be here when you get back. He hesitated, then stepped toward her. Cass, please. I know I've destroyed everything, but don't make any decisions tonight. Let's talk tomorrow, when things are calmer. There's nothing left to say, Ethan. You've made your choice. Again. He reached for her, but she stepped back. I do love you, he said. I always have. That wasn't a lie. If this is your version of love, I want no part of it. She moved past him to the door. Goodbye, Ethan. As she walked to her car, she heard him call her name once more. She didn't look back. Cassandra drove aimlessly through the quiet streets of Ridgewood, her mind a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. Part of her wanted to follow Ethan to Olivia's apartment, to confront this woman who had inserted herself into their marriage. Another part wanted to drive straight to Elena's, fall apart in her friend's arms, and never think about Ethan again. Instead, she found herself parking near the river that ran through the center of town. The same river where Ethan had proposed 7 years ago, on a bridge that sparkled with string lights for the summer festival. She got out of the car and walked to the water's edge, watching the moonlight ripple across the surface. How had her life imploded so completely in the span of a day? Just yesterday, she'd been planning next week's photo shoots, thinking about what to cook for dinner, blissfully unaware that her marriage was built on sand. Her phone buzzed. Elena, responding to her earlier text about needing a place to stay. My door is open. Wine is poured. Come whenever you're ready. No need to explain tonight. The unconditional support brought fresh tears to Cassandra's eyes. She was about to text back when another message came through.
Ethan.
Please come to Olivia's. 827, Oakwood Heights Drive, apartment 3B. I need you. The audacity was breathtaking. After everything, he expected her to come running to his mistress's apartment? She was about to delete the message when a follow-up appeared. It's not what you think. Call the number that contacted you earlier tonight. The police. Officer Delgado had called about an incident at that address. A coldness settled over Cassandra as the pieces began to connect. With trembling fingers, she dialed the number. Ridgewood Police Department. This is Cassandra Elliott. I received a call earlier tonight from Officer Delgado about my husband, Ethan Elliott. One moment, please. As she waited, scenarios raced through her mind, each more disturbing than the last. Had Ethan hurt Olivia? Had Olivia made good on her threats to hurt herself? Or was this some elaborate manipulation to gain her sympathy? Mrs. Elliott. Officer Delgado's voice came on the line. Have you been to the address yet?
No,
I'm nearby. What's happening, officer? Your husband asked me to call you again. He's in a difficult situation. The woman whose apartment he entered tonight, Olivia Bennett Winters, has a restraining order against him. Has had one for nearly 2 years. Cassandra felt as if the ground had disappeared beneath her feet. A restraining order? That can't be right. There. She stopped, unsure how to continue. Mrs. Elliott, whatever you think is going on between them, I assure you, Miss Bennett Winters wants nothing to do with your husband. She's the one who called us tonight when she found him in her apartment. None of this made sense. Can I speak to Ethan? Briefly. There was a rustling sound, then Ethan's voice, strained and distant.
Cass.
Ethan, what the hell is going on? Officer Delgado says Olivia has a restraining order against you. I can explain everything, but not over the phone. Please, Cass. Come to the apartment. Let me show you. Show me what? Ethan, you're scaring me. You wanted the truth. All of it. This is your chance. The line went dead. Cassandra stared at the phone, her mind reeling. Nothing made sense anymore. If Olivia had a restraining order against Ethan, then the affair. Was there even an affair? Or was it something far more disturbing? She texted Elena. Change of plans. I need to handle something. Don't wait up. I'll explain everything tomorrow. Then she got in her car and drove to Oakwood Heights. The apartment building was surrounded by police cars, their lights painting the night in alternating red and blue. A small crowd of onlookers had gathered, whispering among themselves. Cassandra approached a uniformed officer at the entrance. I'm Cassandra Elliott. My husband, Ethan Elliott. Mrs. Elliott, yes. Officer Delgado is expecting you. 3rd floor, apartment 3B. The elevator ride felt interminable. When the doors opened on the 3rd floor, she found Officer Delgado, a middle-aged man with kind eyes and a weathered face, waiting for her. Mrs. Elliott, before we go in, I need to prepare you. What you're about to see will be disturbing. Just tell me what's happening. Please. He nodded. Your husband broke into Ms. Bennett Winters' apartment tonight. She came home and found him going through her personal effects. When she confronted him, he became agitated. Neighbors heard the commotion and called 911. By the time we arrived, he had barricaded himself in her bedroom. He's refusing to come out until he speaks with you. I don't understand. Ethan said they were. She couldn't finish the sentence, the reality of the situation slowly dawning on her. Mrs. Elliott, Your husband has been stalking Ms. Bennett Winters for over 2 years. Since shortly after you moved to Ridgewood. This isn't the first time he's broken into her home. The world tilted on its axis. Stalking. Not an affair. Stalking. But the emails, she murmured, more to herself than to Officer Delgado. I saw emails between them. What emails? On his laptop. Dozens of them, dating back years. From her to him. Personal, intimate messages. Officer Delgado's expression shifted to one of deeper concern. Mrs. Elliott, we've examined Ms. Bennett Winters' devices and accounts. There's no evidence she's ever communicated with your husband, except through her lawyer regarding the restraining order. That's impossible. I saw them. They were planning to meet this weekend. Mrs. Elliott, Officer Delgado said gently, we believe your husband may have created these emails himself. It's not uncommon in cases like this. The stalker creates a fantasy relationship, complete with fabricated evidence to support it. The revelation hit Cassandra like a physical blow. She leaned against the wall for support. You're saying he made it all up? The affair, the emails, everything? That's what the evidence suggests. Your husband has been living in a delusional state for some time. Ms. Bennett Winters met him once at a charity event shortly after you moved here. That brief interaction seems to have triggered an obsession. Cassandra thought back to all the inconsistencies, the late nights, the secretive behavior. She'd interpreted them as signs of an affair, but in reality, Ethan had been what? Spying on this woman? Breaking into her home? Creating elaborate fantasies about a relationship that didn't exist? I need to see him, she said. Officer Delgado nodded. That's why we called you. We have negotiators, but he's specifically asking for you. If you're willing, we think your presence might help de-escalate the situation. What about Ms. Bennett Winters? Is she okay? She's shaken but unharmed. She's with a victim's advocate in a neighbor's apartment. Cassandra took a deep breath. Okay, take me to him. Officer Delgado led her to apartment 3B. The door was open, and several officers stood in the living room, speaking in hushed tones. One of them, a woman in plain clothes, approached. Detective Rivera, she introduced herself. Your husband is in the bedroom at the end of the hall. He's not armed, but he's highly agitated. We've tried to reason with him, but he's insistent on speaking with you. What do I say to him? Keep him calm. Try to get him to come out voluntarily. Don't challenge his delusions directly, but don't reinforce them either. She handed Cassandra a small earpiece. Wear this so we can communicate with you. If at any point you feel unsafe, say the word red, and we'll intervene immediately. Cassandra nodded, placing the earpiece in her ear. She moved down the hallway, her heart pounding so loudly she was sure everyone could hear it. At the bedroom door, she paused. Ethan? It's me, Cassandra. Silence then. Are you alone? Yes. It wasn't entirely a lie. No one was standing right beside her, though she knew the police were listening. Come in. The door's unlocked. She turned the handle slowly and pushed the door open. The bedroom was dimly lit by a single lamp. Ethan sat on the edge of the bed, surrounded by what looked like journals, photographs, and other personal items. You came, he said, looking up at her with red-rimmed eyes. You asked me to. She remained by the door, maintaining distance. What's going on, Ethan? The police say you broke in here, that Olivia has a restraining order against you. It's not what they think. Not what anyone thinks. He gestured to the items around him. This is proof. Proof of what we had, what we have. Cassandra took a cautious step forward, getting a better look at the scattered items. Photographs, dozens of them of Olivia. Some taken from a distance, through windows or in public places. Olivia shopping, Olivia at a cafe, Olivia walking her dog. None of them showed her with Ethan. None of them showed her even aware of being photographed. Ethan, she said carefully, these aren't pictures of the two of you together. These are pictures you took of her without her knowledge. No, that's not right. We're together in spirit in these moments. She knew I was there. She always knows. The delusion was complete, chilling in its totality. This wasn't the Ethan she knew, the rational, grounded architect who built his life on careful plans and solid foundations. This was someone else entirely. What about the emails? She asked. The ones I found on your laptop? A flicker of something, guilt? Shame? Crossed his face. I needed you to understand. To see what Olivia and I have. I knew you'd check eventually. So, you created them. The confirmation was almost a relief. At least one mystery solved. Created them?
No.
I channeled them. Wrote what she would say, what she was thinking. He leaned forward earnestly. I know her so well, Cass. Better than anyone. I can feel what she feels. In his mind, it wasn't a lie. The realization was devastating. Her husband, the man she'd built a life with, was deeply, profoundly unwell. Ethan, listen to me. Olivia doesn't feel the same way about you. She's afraid of you. That's why she got the restraining order. She was confused, manipulated by others who don't understand our connection. He began sorting through the photographs frantically. I can prove it. Here, look at this one. The way she's smiling. That's for me. It was a photo of Olivia laughing with a friend at an outdoor cafe. There was nothing in it to suggest she was aware of Ethan's presence, let alone smiling for him. Ethan, Cassandra said softly, I think you need help. Professional help. Don't say that. Don't you start thinking like them. His voice rose, tinged with desperation. You know me, Cass. You know I'm not crazy.
But I don't know you, she thought.
I never did. In her ear, Detective Rivera's voice. Keep him talking. We're preparing to move in if necessary. Tell me when it started, Cassandra said, taking another careful step into the room. Your feelings for Olivia. The question seemed to calm him. Chicago. The therapy conference. She attended my presentation on healing spaces. Afterward, she asked questions that no one else thought to ask. She saw me, really saw me, in a way no one ever had before. Including me? The question slipped out before she could stop it, the hurt still raw despite everything. Ethan looked at her, his expression softening. It's different, Cass. What you and I have is solid, steady. What Olivia and I have is fire. It consumes everything. Except it's not real, Ethan. There is no Olivia and you. There never was. His face darkened. You're wrong. You'll see. Once I show her these, he gestured to the journals beside him. She'll understand. She'll remember. What are they? Letters.
Hundreds of them.
Everything I've wanted to tell her, but couldn't because of the restraining order. My thoughts, my feelings, my plans for us. The journals were thick, filled with handwritten pages. Ethan must have been writing in them for years, pouring his obsession onto paper. May I see? Cassandra asked, extending her hand. Ethan hesitated, then handed her one of the journals. She opened it carefully, her eyes scanning the pages. The writing was dense, frantic, filled with references to conversations that never happened, moments that existed only in Ethan's mind. It was the chronicle of a relationship that lived solely in his imagination, detailed with the precision of an architect, but disconnected from reality. You've put a lot of thought into this, she said, closing the journal. Every day. She's with me every day. He tapped his temple. In here. Ethan, I need you to listen to me now. Cassandra sat down cautiously on the edge of the bed, maintaining a safe distance. The police are outside. They want you to come out peacefully. I can't leave yet. I haven't found what I'm looking for. What are you looking for? The card she gave me in Chicago, with her personal number. It's proof that she initiated contact. That she wanted this too. Detective Rivera's voice came through the earpiece again. There was no card. Ms. Bennett Winters confirmed she never gave him her number. Ethan, Cassandra said gently, I don't think that card exists. I think, in your mind, you've created a relationship that isn't real. And I think, deep down, you know that. He stared at her, his expression unreadable. Then, slowly, he said, You think I'm crazy. No, not crazy.
Ill.
There's a difference. And illness can be treated. So that's your answer? Lock me up, Drug me until I forget her. My answer is to get you the help you need. Because this, she gestured around the room at the scattered evidence of his obsession. This isn't healthy, Ethan. It's destroying you. It's already destroyed us. For a moment, clarity seemed to break through the delusion.
Cass, I'm sorry.
For all of it. I never meant to hurt you. I know. And she did know in a way that ached. The man she loved had been consumed by something beyond his control, something that had been growing inside him long before it manifested in this obsession with Olivia. What happens now? He asked, his voice small. Now, you come with me. We walk out together, and you let the police take you somewhere safe. Somewhere you can get help. And then what? We go back to normal? Pretend none of this happened. The question broke her heart. Because even if Ethan got help, even if he recovered completely, there was no going back. The trust was shattered. The foundation crumbled. I don't know what happens after that, she said honestly. But I know this is the first step. Ethan looked around at the scattered remnants of his delusion, then back at Cassandra. Something in his expression shifted, as if a curtain had been drawn back to reveal the man she once knew. I'm tired, Cass, he whispered. I'm so tired of carrying this. Then let it go. Come with me. Slowly, he nodded. Okay, I'll come. Relief washed over her. Thank you. She stood and extended her hand. After a moment's hesitation, he took it, rising from the bed. Together, they walked to the bedroom door. Wait, he said, turning back. My journals. I need them. The police will take care of them, she said. They're evidence now. Evidence of what? My insanity. Evidence that you need help, Ethan. That's all. He looked at her for a long moment, then nodded again. Lead the way. As they stepped into the hallway, the officers moved forward, gently but firmly taking Ethan into custody. He didn't resist, his eyes never leaving Cassandra's face as they placed him in handcuffs. I do love you, he said as they began to lead him away. That was never a delusion. Cassandra watched, tears streaming down her face, as they escorted him out. Officer Delgado approached, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder. You did well, he said. Potentially saved lives tonight. She nodded, unable to speak, the full weight of what had happened finally crashing over her. What happens to him now? She managed finally. He'll be taken for psychiatric evaluation. After that, it depends on the doctor's assessment and whether Ms. Bennett Winters presses charges. Can I see her, Olivia? Officer Delgado seemed surprised by the request. I can ask. She might not be up for it tonight.
Please.
I need to. I don't know. Apologize? Explain? Something. I'll check. He returned a few minutes later. She's willing to speak with you briefly. She's in apartment 3D. Cassandra took a deep breath and walked the short distance to the neighboring apartment. Detective Rivera met her at the door. Ms. Bennett Winters is still shaken, she said. Keep it brief, if you don't mind. Inside, Olivia sat on a couch, wrapped in a blanket despite the warm night. She looked up as Cassandra entered, her eyes wary but not unkind. Mrs. Elliott, she said. Please sit. Cassandra perched on the edge of a chair across from her. Ms. Bennett Winters, I can't begin to express how sorry I am for what my husband has put you through. Olivia nodded. Thank you. But you're not responsible for his actions. I should have known. There were signs, inconsistencies. I thought. She trailed off. You thought he was having an affair. It wasn't a question.
Yes.
With you. I found emails, supposedly between you two. I believed them. He created a whole alternate reality. Olivia's voice was tired but professional, the therapist in her emerging despite her trauma. It's not uncommon in cases of erotomania. The delusion becomes so complete that even fabricated evidence feels real to them. When did it start? The stalking. Shortly after I met him at the Ridgewood Arts Foundation fundraiser. I'd just moved here from Chicago. We chatted briefly about architecture and psychology. My specialty is environmental psychology, how physical spaces affect mental health. It was a 3-minute conversation, completely professional. But something in that conversation triggered this obsession. Olivia nodded. Something I said or did, or something I represented to him. It's impossible to know exactly what. A week later, he started showing up at my office, claiming he had appointments. Then at restaurants where I was dining, parks where I was jogging. Always with an excuse for being there. At first, I thought it was coincidence. And when did you realize it wasn't? When I started finding notes on my car. At my door. When he showed up at a conference in Boston that I was attending. That's when I got the first restraining order. The first? It's been renewed 3 times. Each time, he'd back off for a while, then start again. Tonight was the first time he actually broke in, as far as I know. The magnitude of Ethan's deception was staggering. For 2 years, he'd been living this double life, husband to Cassandra, obsessed stalker to Olivia, all while maintaining the facade of normalcy. I had no idea, Cassandra whispered. All this time, I thought our marriage was mostly happy. We talked about having children. Olivia's expression softened further. Compartmentalization is powerful. In his mind, he could be a good husband to you and still pursue this fantasy of a relationship with me. Will he get better? With treatment. It's possible. Delusional disorders can respond to medication and therapy, but it's a long road. She hesitated, then added, You know you don't have to walk it with him, right? Your safety, your well-being, they matter too. The kindness from this woman, who had every reason to hate anything connected to Ethan, broke something in Cassandra. The tears came again, harder this time. I'm sorry, she said, wiping her eyes. You're the victim here, and I'm falling apart. We're both victims, Olivia said simply. Different kinds, but victims nonetheless. They sat in silence for a moment, united by the wreckage one man's delusion had created in their lives. Finally, Cassandra stood. Thank you for speaking with me. And again, I'm so sorry for everything you've endured. Olivia nodded. Take care of yourself, Mrs. Elliot. Whatever comes next, put yourself first. Outside, dawn was breaking over Ridgewood, the sky lightening from black to deep blue to the first hints of pink. Cassandra walked to her car, feeling simultaneously hollowed out and somehow, paradoxically, lighter. The truth, however painful, had freed her from the limbo of suspicion and half-truths. As she drove home, to what had been their home, she thought about Olivia's parting words. Put yourself first. After years of putting Ethan first, of building her life around their marriage, the concept felt both foreign and exhilarating. Their house looked different in the early morning light, smaller somehow. Inside, evidence of their life together was everywhere. Photos, mementos, the furniture they'd chosen together. But now she saw it all with new eyes. How much of it had been real? How much had been part of Ethan's elaborate compartmentalization? In the kitchen, she made coffee and sat at the counter, watching the sunrise through the window. Her phone buzzed with a text from Elena. Asterisk, checking in. You okay? Asterisk. Cassandra stared at the message, considering how to respond. How could she possibly explain what had happened? How her world had imploded not once but twice in the span of a night. First with the discovery of what she thought was an affair, then with the revelation of Ethan's delusion. Finally, she typed. Asterisk, not really. But I will be. Can we talk later today? Asterisk. The response came immediately. Asterisk, absolutely. My door is still open. Whenever you're ready. Asterisk. Whenever she was ready. The phrase echoed in her mind as she sipped her coffee. She wasn't ready now, not to talk about it, not to process it fully, not to make decisions about what came next.
But she would be.
One day, she would be ready to step into whatever life awaited her after this devastation. For now, it was enough to know that the truth, however painful, had set her free. Free from suspicion, free from lies, free from a marriage built on a foundation of sand. And in that freedom, painful though it was, lay the possibility of rebuilding. Not the life she'd planned with Ethan, but something new, something real. She picked up her phone again and opened a new message to her lawyer. It was time to start taking Olivia's advice. Time to put herself first.
And that wraps up today's story. Now we want to hear from you. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments, and let's see how far these stories reach. If this story moved you or gave you chills, give it a like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories. One last thing, rate the story from 1 to 10 in the comments. Your feedback helps us bring you even better ones next time. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you being part of this storytelling journey.